And welcome back to the Brotherhood of Gaming video game show, the only video game show that will have more than just video games inside of its show, such as comic books. Now, I'm gonna be up in front. I have been so busy as of late that I kind of neglected the comic book review series, but thankfully, Gene has actually been on top of it by following through on a lot of comic books that he's been particularly following, such as the Superman, Wonder Woman, and Harley Quinn story arc. I tell you, I was originally going to do the Superman Wonder Woman story arc, but he kind of beat me to it, and I had a lot of things going on at the time, so I'm kind of glad that he's doing it. There's a lot of other great Superman stories going on out there on the side, but being that they all kind of branch off and go into other things, they're kind of in the middle of their scenarios as it is, and for me to jump in right now, I'd be mildly confused, and it'd be really hard for me to review them. And I know that a few of you people have actually kind of requested for me to review the DC vs. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe series. Maybe I'll eventually get to it, but as of right now, it's kind of beyond me. But it's like 6 issues long, so to be honest, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. However, there has been one particular series which I have indeed kept following, and that would have to be, well, more or less been following. It would have to be within the MegaMan universe. Now, I haven't really been following the MegaMan comic books. Like, I've gotten quite a few of them. I got the first issue when it came out. I've got a lot of issues since then. Like, currently its most recent ones. Like, so I'm missing quite a few, but like, most of the main ones I pretty much got. Now, this one in particular I had to get my hands on because this starts a whole new breed of comic book. And I'm not talking about just your average Mega Man. This isn't just a regular Mega Man comic here, guys. Look at what is in the freaking corner, and you'll know exactly who story this is starting. Oh yeah, we're going there. Freaking MegaMan X is here, and it is on. I have been waiting for this to happen for a long time, ever since its first announcement, which was a long ass time ago. Now, it's still mostly a Mega Man comic, but how it works is basically like the first half of the pages tell a Mega Man story, and then it cuts from there and then goes into the Mega Man X story arc. And my god, is it amazing, because it tells it from the very beginning. Like, I'm not talking about no, I'm talking like before that, like way before that, way a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. And it is so cool to actually see the origins put in paper. You know what? Even these guys were so amazingly geeked out by the time this was happening that they are hoping to God that they actually get to make their own book out of it. And they kind of hint that they're going to, because in the very end of the book, you actually get to see X and Zero kind of like joking around and talking like, well, it took a long time, but we're actually here. Now we're in print, we're getting our own story. And then Mega Man comes out and he's like, hold on guys. In the comics that we're in, we haven't actually even gotten through the story of Mega Man 3 yet on the Nintendo. So you guys are gonna have to get your own book, because we're not anywhere near done yet. We're kind of just at this point wrapping up the story of Super Adventure Rockman with Ramoon, hence the title. It still has like Ramoon in there somewhere. Yeah, Into the Shadows. It's kind of like going into, you know what, forget it, that doesn't even matter. Alright, I gotta slow down. Slow down. Woo! Okay. For those who don't know, and if you don't know, you obviously haven't been watching our channel long, MegaMan X is probably my most all-time favorite Mega Man of the bunch, because he was the childhood prodigy hero. Like, when you grew up with video games, of course you had your Marios, you had your Zeldas, you had your Sonic the Hedgehogs. I had them, but I also, you know what I also had? I also had freaking Mega Man X there from day one, and oh boy, it was a lot of fun. Like, I remember it like it was yesterday. And you know what? It's nice to see that story getting retold in print form. Let's not waste any more time. I'm going to tell you just how it goes. If you don't know, this is Mega Man issue number 34. If you guys want to read it for yourself, and in case you want to avoid spoilers. And if you're a Mega Man X fan at all, you probably already know where this is going, so spoiler warning, even though you may or may not already know. Okay, so what happens in the story is I'll probably have like images of what goes on maybe somewhere around this vicinity, somewhere. I don't know, maybe, could be, possibly, you don't know, could be. Alright, so Dr. Kane, if you don't know how Dr. Kane is, get the frick out. Dr. Kane, alright, now this takes place 100 years in the future, long after the events of the Mega Man storyline. They don't build the story arc as of yet. In fact, they actually talked about that they would like to bridge the story. However, it's unclear how they're going to. As Mega Man fans, we have a pretty clear cut and dry idea of how exactly what happens but even we're not too definitively sure. So maybe one day we'll finally get a bridge. Thank you, Archie, for bringing up the idea, and I hope they go through with it. All right, so 100 years into the future, we find Dr. Kane on an archaeological discovery site, trying to find hidden technologies, hidden past, hidden truths about what it was like decades past. And of course, being that we're centuries later, Dr. Light, is no longer among the living. He has gone on, he has passed on quite some time ago, but his legacy has still lived on. His dream has still passed on to other great youth scientists in the world, and of course, they kind of want to aspire and live up to it. But technology hasn't really grown since the passing. Like, we still have normal robots, you got your, but they are slightly upgraded because, of course, as times pass on, eventually you do get smarter and better robotics in the same. Now, meanwhile, while Dr. Kane is on this archaeological discovery of his, 4 days in, or I guess months into it, I'm not really sure, you'll have to read it and find out, he manages, with his robotics, to discover an old abandoned laboratory. And it's quite clear, it quickly becomes discovered that it's an old laboratory that belongs to Dr. Thomas Light. He finds this out because he finds a hologram which kind of looks like the capsules that MegaMan X finds as you play the games, and he gets armors and that cool stuff. So it's actually cool, really cool actually, that they incorporated that into the comic book storyline. Whereas anybody who played, let's say, Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, he basically saw like an image of Dr. Light on a video screen. So once again, Archie goes above and beyond and actually incorporates a lot of the elements from the video games into the storyline of the comic to actually make it make sense. So the fact that we've got capsules means that he's probably taken priority and made more throughout the planet somewhere. And they'll probably rediscover themselves later as the comics go on. So getting back on track. Yeah, Dr. Kane, he goes there, he finds Dr. Light's notes, and of course he finds out that he's been working on a lot of ancient robotics. Well, some of it has kind of been outdated, but he's really intrigued by this. He's like, maybe we can find some research that will help us, like, will enlighten us, and it'll be able to tell us how we can continue and further our progress when it comes to making robotics. This could actually be like a new start in the future for all of us. Like, we don't know, because Dr. Kane, even though I'm an amazing scientist, I'm nothing compared to the mastery that was Dr. Thomas Light. Like, this guy was on a whole nother level. So, while going through the ruins of the old abandoned laboratory, unfortunately a lot of things don't work. Of course, as time passes, that's kind of how things are. He manages, with the help of his robot people that are along the side, find a secret room in the back, which still manages to have power functioning to keep it afloat. Now here's where things get interesting. In the back room, that's when you see the famous Mega Man X message of Thomas Light's start beginning playing, where he kind of goes into that monotone sort of view where I have been working on a secret project for quite some time. This project is known as the X Project. X is a new breed of robotics. He is a robot like no other. He has the ability to think, feel, react, and basically is the perfect robot, perfect cyborg, perfect android in every way, to the point where he's recognizable almost completely as human. But on the outside, he looks like a robot. So, Mega Man X, being the X in his name, stands for unlimited potential. He can constantly keep growing, he can constantly keep getting knowledge, he can constantly keep on getting better. Because as we as people, that's what humans do. We progress and we get better and we grow the more we do things. Unfortunately, not all of us turn out to be good. Some of us do evil things. But see, this is where Dr. Light planned. He feared the power that X could have. And knowing full well that he wasn't going to survive long enough to make sure that X was going to stay on the goal, he made a protocol, safety program, that would keep X locked away for 30 years to test his loyalties. Would he grow to be a bad robot? Would he defy the human race? Because of course, we know Dr. Light, he didn't want that. He wanted a son that would always do right, always be there to protect the people, to protect and serve and be a hero that everybody looked up to, but also to have a son of his own. Whatever happened to the original Mega Man, we'll never know unless they decide to bridge it. I have my own theories, but my own theories are, again, my own theories. So going back, Mega Man X, for 30 years, has been locked away in his cell. Not so much a cell, it's more like a sleeping pod, where he's in a constant stasis, constantly throughout the years being trained to know immediately what is right from wrong, to test his reliability. Like, will he kill somebody? Will he kill an unarmed man? Will he kill or rise up above humans and decide that taking a life is necessary? It's those kind of things that Dr. Light feared, because if he manages to do this, he could be the worst weapon known to mankind. Or he could be the savior of mankind, the best that we've ever seen. And it's that sort of thing that makes Mega Man X one of the most awesome characters in video game history, because he is just that kind of character that is so compassionate. He is, I could go on for hours about Mega Man X, but we got to get into the comic. It's not very long, but it tells you just enough. So after hearing all of this from Dr. Light, or at least like the hologram version of him, Dr. Kane realizes, well, it's been long past 30 years. So it's been 100 years. And then some. So Mega Man X, whoever this X person is, has been lying dormant in this constant stasis for over a century. He's long overdue to be let out. So, of course, without hesitating, Dr. Kane and his helpers, they press the switches like, let's get him out of there. Let's bring Mega Man X out. Who is this? Could he be the one? And immediately, X comes out. He rises. Who are you? And then that's where it all starts. Dr. Kane, he gets to know X, and he learns from him, he talks with him, and he starts to understand that what Dr. Light says is true. This is the most human that we will ever get to robotics. Like, it's almost unimaginably human, to the point where he can argue. He can actually engage in a conversation with you and disagree, or he can have an idea of his own. And throughout the entire time, Dr. Kane is keeping journals about this entire thing as it goes on. And you can see in the comic, it's kind of narrating as it goes through. Like, Dr. Kane, he kind of gets upset sometimes in some of the panels where X is kind of smirking because he's having like a different opinion, and he's arguing, kind of having like a friendly debate, and it's kind of getting on Dr. Kane's nerves, but he finds it fascinating that a robot can do this. And through Mega Man X, both Dr. Kane and X work together to create the new generation, the Reploids. Now, that is amazing. That is awesome to see, actually see X building Reploids to start the new world. And it eventually becomes so popular to the point where Dr. Kane says that as days go by, hundreds of these new Reploids are being mass-produced by the machines. They're nowhere near as qualified as X is, being that he will be and always forever be the only one that can think, feel, and grow like a human being with the unlimited potential that we know he has. All of the other robots, they will be amazing, they will be technologically advanced, far superior than any of the robotics that they had up to this point. However, they will still be robots. Like, if you guys have seen the movie Bicentennial Man starring Robin Williams, amazing movie by the way, think of it just like that, how X serves as being the Bicentennial Man, the Robin Williams character. He is the only robot out of the entire bunch that grows and feels and thinks and is basically as closest to human as can possibly be. However, the new generation models that were being made in that movie started being programmed with a personality chip that made them act and feel like humans, but they clearly had limits on how far human they could go. They still had tasks to do, they still had things and limits that they could go, and they were still generically robots, only with personality chips put inside their character model. Robin Williams' character was the only one that could literally be human all the way. Think of it just like that. In fact, that's probably as closest to perfection as an explanation as you're going to get out of the whole thing. So moving to the comic, as X starts noticing like all of the world is now getting these Reploids and the world is growing and shaping, he starts to have little worries and doubts because he remembers his father, Dr. Light. He remembers his dream. In fact, he hopes his dream comes true, the day where robots and humans can live forever in peace and harmony. But he starts to wonder, are we moving too fast? Are things progressing too quickly? Is this a good idea? And the last panel in the story is probably the best one because it starts it all. Because now we see that Reploids have actually been assigned jobs, and they're actually okay with it. Like, a lot of them can adapt and grow quickly to it. They like, because they're being treated fairly. They're not being treated like slaves. That has been long, that was never a thing. All of the robots had equal rights. They could do what they wanted. They had jobs to do. The humans had jobs to do. They were all pretty much equal, working together, and that's how it was going. They had pretty much said that they had almost established the peace that Dr. Light had wanted. But then X started having doubts, like, could we be progressing too fast here? In the last panel, it shows that there are some Reploids that work in a kitchen, like chef, like, you know, a chef, sous chef, and they have the workers in the kitchen. They all have like a, you know, they have like their little knives and they cook and prepare the food. And the chef, which is human by the way, the chef is upset because obviously something went wrong in the kitchen. Maybe the food wasn't prepared right. He doesn't know, and he's yelling at the Reploids who are working. He's like, "You messed up, why are you doing this?" And then there's one Reploid in the back who is holding a cleaver. Yeah, like the Reploid, he's got his back turned, but he's got a mean look at looking at the chef, and he's holding a cleaver behind his back. And you know, with that imagery, you have X on the side contemplating to himself, have we gone too far? Were we ready? That is the perfect ending. That is the perfect cliffhanger, because now you know something's gonna go down. Something's wrong. We might have a problem here. Perfection might not be here just yet. So if you're a MegaMan X fan, or if you're looking for a good kickoff starter to a new series, I hope we continue MegaMan X, the X Factor, which is hiding within the pages of MegaMan number 34. It's an awesome comic, and I cannot wait to keep following it. I hope you guys want me to continue it. Oh boy, I am excited. These ones cannot come out fast enough, I tell you. I go to the comic book store every day when the new ones are supposed to come out, and you know, you have no idea how disappointed I get when they don't have them. So it was really exciting to read it. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Please follow us, subscribe, hit our Facebook, Twitter, Google+, our official website, and you know what? Keep on reading comics. I'm out.